They told you to work hard, to grind, to sacrifice. They made you believe that wealth was something reserved for the few who either inherited it or slaved away for it. They repeated the same words over and over. No pain, no gain. Success takes sweat. If you're not exhausted, you're not earning it. And so, generation after generation believed that money only comes through effort. But what if I told you that was never true? What if I told you that the wealthiest people in the world, the ones who multiply money without struggle, are playing by an entirely different set of rules? Rules you were never taught, because someone made sure you didn't learn them. This book was hidden not because it was dangerous in traditional sense, but because it was too powerful for a system built on control. If everyone knew how to attract wealth with ease, without burnout, without fear, without guilt, then control would collapse. And control is big business. Control keeps you in jobs you hate. Control keeps you buying things you don't need. Control keeps you distracted while a small group lives in total financial freedom. But the truth is starting to leak. The truth is this: wealth is a frequency, a vibration, a state of energy. And once you tune into it, you no longer chase money. It flows to you. You become the kind of person who receives, who magnetizes, who no longer begs, hustles, or performs for financial scraps. You become a channel, a current, a source of abundance that never dries. This is not hype. This is physics. Emotion is energy. Belief is energy. Intention is energy. And money, though dressed up in numbers and systems, is also energy. It moves. It flows. It expands or contracts depending on what it's connected to. The people who attract money consistently and easily are not the ones working the hardest. They're the ones aligned. What does alignment mean? It means your beliefs match your desires. It means you believe you're worthy of money, and so it shows up. It means your actions feel light and exciting, not heavy and draining. It means you're following the signal, not forcing the outcome. Most people try to get rich from the outside in. They try to change their bank account without changing their internal wiring. That never worked for long. They earn it and lose it, or they earn it and burn out, or they never earn it at all. Wealth begins on the inside. That's why this first chapter is about the blueprint. Because just like every building starts with a plan, every wealthy life begins with mental foundation. If your mind is full of cracks, limiting beliefs, fear of success, guilt around money, you can't build anything stable. So we begin by rewiring. Let's begin with this. Money is neutral. It's not evil. It's not pure. It's not moral. It's not immoral. It's neutral. It takes the shape of the person who holds it. If you're a generous person, more money lets you amplify that generosity. If you're creative, more money lets you express your ideas. If you're visionary, more money lets you build what others can only dream of. Money is not the root of evil. Unconsciousness is. Greed is. But money itself is a tool. And the more you release your emotional baggage around money, the more freely it flows to you. Ask yourself, what were you taught about money? That it's hard to get? That it corrupts people? That only lucky or dishonest people get rich? That you have to sacrifice health, time, or family to become wealthy? Those thoughts are the blueprint you've been living in, and it's time to change it. Because here's what the hidden book teaches. Money comes through ease, not struggle. Through flow, not friction. Through service, not sacrifice. Through alignment, not exhaustion. When you feel good about your work, when you're in your creative zone, when you trust that money is your birthright, not your burden, everything begins to shift. Let me share a truth that the elite know. Money flows fastest to those who expect it. They don't hope. They don't beg. They expect. They walk through life like the stream is already flowing toward them. They act in ways that reflect that belief. They speak, move, and think in patterns that invite wealth. It's not magic. It's alignment. And it's learnable. You might be asking, what do I do with this information? You start by observing. When money comes to you, how do you react? When you imagine being rich, what feelings come up? Do you feel excited or ashamed? Worthy or guilty? Free or afraid? These emotions are clues to your current wealth frequency. If you feel resistance around money, that's the first thing to shift. Because you can't attract what you secretly fear. You can't hold what you subconsciously reject. Your nervous system must feel safe with abundance. And that safety comes from awareness, repetition, and reprogramming. We'll go deep into that in future chapters. But for now, know this: you are not broken. You were programmed. And every belief that tells you wealth is hard, dirty, or unreachable was installed by someone else. You get to uninstall it. Right now, your new blueprint begins with this sentence: wealth is natural to me. Say it again. Wealth is natural to me. Not because you're special. Not because you're lucky. But because you are alive. And life, when aligned, is abundant. You were told that the harder you work, the more money you'll make. That success is earned by burning the candle at both ends. That waking up at 5 in the morning and working until midnight is the only real path to riches. And for years, you may have believed it. Maybe you still do. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Effort by itself does not lead to wealth. And often, the more effort you apply without alignment, the further you push money away. Now, this doesn't mean that action is useless, or that you can sit on your couch, repeat affirmations, and expect millions to rain down. But it does mean this: effort without alignment is wasted energy. It burns time. It burns health. And it leaves you wondering why you're still stuck financially, while others seem to multiply money with ease. The answer is simple. They're not relying on effort. They're moving in flow. There are people working 3 jobs who can't afford a rest. And there are people spending a few hours a day on their true passion and earning more than they ever thought possible. What's the difference? It's not always education. It's not even connections. It's energetic alignment. It's knowing who you are, why you're here, and channeling your energy into the right frequency, not the loudest hustle. Effort can be addictive. It feels noble. It looks impressive. You post your busy schedule, your all-nighters, your sleepless hustle, and the world claps. But secretly, many of those clapping are still broke, because they've been taught to worship struggle instead of flow, to worship exhaustion instead of abundance. And if you're constantly in effort mode, constantly trying to prove your worth through work, you're still running an outdated program that wealth only comes through pain. But wealth, real wealth, doesn't respond to pain. It responds to clarity. It responds to value. It responds to trust. The moment you stop trying to force wealth through effort and instead align yourself with who you really are and what truly lights you up, money starts showing up in unexpected ways. Clients find you. Ideas come effortlessly. Opportunities appear without stress. That's not luck. That's alignment. So what does alignment look like? It looks like waking up and doing what energizes you instead of what drains you. It looks like trusting your instincts instead of following the herd. It looks like acting from inspiration, not desperation. Alignment means being fully you, without apology, when you operate from your zone of genius. Things that take others 10 hours might take you 2. Why? Because energy flows freely when you're doing what you're meant to be doing. Let's break this into 3 truths. Truth 1, effort is limited. Energy is infinite. Your body can only give so many hours. Your energy, however, multiplies when it's connected to purpose. You've had days where you worked hard and felt drained, and days where you did a few focused things and felt alive. That's the difference between grind and flow. Truth 2, value isn't measured by time. You don't get paid for the hours you spend. You get paid for the impact you create. Someone can make more in 1 minute than someone else makes in a month. Not because they work harder, but because they created something valuable and offered it from a place of confidence and clarity. Truth 3, money responds to alignment, not effort. People feel your energy. If your energy is tight, frantic, desperate, people sense it, even if your words are polished. But if your energy is relaxed, confident, magnetic, people are drawn in without even knowing why. That's the power of aligned energy. It speaks louder than your resume. Let me give you a real example. There was a man who worked 10 hours a day selling insurance. He was good at it, but he hated it. It drained him, and he never broke past average income. He decided to start painting on weekends, just for joy. At first, it made no money, but something shifted. He began sharing his art online. People responded. He started getting commissions, then clients. Then gallery offers. Within 2 years, he replaces income and doubled it, doing what felt like play. That's alignment. You have something like that too. A skill, a voice, a style, a calling. It may not look like business. It may not look like anything profitable. But when you combine your energy with intentional action and open channels, wealth follows. Not because you chased it, but because you allowed it. This doesn't mean you stop working, but it does mean you stop forcing. You stop doing things that feel dead inside just because someone told you it's the only way. You stop glorifying struggle. You start listening to the whispers of joy. Because where there's joy, there's flow. And where there's flow, there's wealth. Here's your shift for today. Stop asking, how can I work harder? Start asking, how can I get more aligned? Where is my energy naturally high? What tasks drain me? What activities light me up? Where do I lose track of time? What would I still do if no one paid me? These are clues. Clues to your true lane. The one where wealth becomes a side effect of being fully you. Let's be clear, this is not about being lazy. It's about being honest. Honest about what works. Honest about who you are. Honest about what feels expansive. You are allowed to create wealth with ease. You are allowed to earn without struggle. You are allowed to rewrite your story from effort to energy. The old world says, work hard and hope. The new world says, align deeply and receive. One path leads to burnout. The other leads to freedom. Which one are you choosing? Money is not created by how many hours you work. It's not created by sweat alone. It's not a direct reward for how tired you are, how much you suffer, or how many things you cross off a checklist. If that were true, the hardest working people on the planet would be the richest. And yet, we know that's not the case. Some of the hardest working individuals are the most underpaid, overworked, and underappreciated. So, why do we keep believing that hard work equals money? Because we've been conditioned to ignore what money really is. Energy. You can't see it directly, but you feel it. Money responds to how you feel, what you believe, and how you show up in the world. It responds to your emotional state more than your resume. It listens to the signal you're constantly sending out, not just with your words, but with your vibration. When you walk into a room believing you're valuable, abundant, and worthy, that's energy. When you offer a product, a service, a conversation, and do it with enthusiasm, confidence, and clarity, that's energy. When you talk about your ideas with passion, with joy, with conviction, that is a frequency, and money responds to it. We live in a vibrational universe. Everything has a frequency, just like radio stations. If you tune into the right frequency, you hear the music clearly. If you're off, even by a little, all you hear is static. Money is the same way. You must tune into the frequency of abundance, value, and flow. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in the static of fear, doubt, and lack. What does the frequency of abundance feel like? It feels light. It feels peaceful. It feels open. It feels safe. It feels like enough. And when you are in that feeling, you make different decisions. You speak differently. You behave differently. You stop chasing and start attracting. That's when things change. Not because you force them, but because you aligned your energy with what you actually want. But most people are vibrating at the frequency of lack. They're trying to get rich while feeling poor. They're trying to manifest money while fearing there isn't enough. They say affirmations with their mouths, but panic in their hearts. And the universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you feel consistently. So if money is energy, how do you attract it? First, you have to change the way you see it. Money is not your enemy. It's not something you fight for. It's not something you have to trap or chase. It's a current, a flow, a reflection of what you believe you're worth and what you feel you can receive. If you believe deep down that you have to sacrifice joy, freedom, and peace to earn money, then that belief becomes your prison. And no matter how much you earn, it'll never feel like enough. But if you shift that belief, if you begin to see money as something that flows to you when you're being your highest self, that shift begins to change everything. Second, check your relationship with money. Do you resent rich people? Do you feel guilt when you charge for your services? Do you think it's greedy to want more? Those emotions carry weight. They block flow. If you think money is bad, but you say you want it, you're sending mixed signals. You must clean up your beliefs. Begin to see money as a mirror, a neutral force, a partner, not something to control, not something to fear. Third, get into the energy of abundance daily. Abundance is not just a number. It's a state of being. It's how you think, how you walk, how you breathe. It's the energy of, I already have what I need, and I'm open to more. You don't wait for money to show up and then feel abundant. You feel abundant first, and money responds to that signal. Start small. Look around. What are you grateful for? What have you already received that you once prayed for? That feeling, right there, that's the money frequency. Hold it. Liven it. Speak from it. Move from it. You will notice opportunities appear. Ideas download faster. People begin to respond to you differently. It won't be a coincidence. It'll be energy meeting energy. Fourth, become a match for the level of wealth you want. You don't get what you want. You get what you are aligned with. Wanting is weak. Matching is magnetic. If you want to earn more, become someone who believes that's normal. How would that version of you think? Speak? Dress? Act? What boundaries would they have? What standards would they refuse to lower? What would they no longer tolerate? Step into that version. Not tomorrow. Now. Act as if your wealth is already yours. Because energetically it is. When you do this consistently, you will find yourself receiving more. Not because you beg for it, but because you became the person who receives. The game is energetic. Always has been. And now that you know that, you're no longer playing blind. You're playing smart. Let's repeat the core truth of this chapter. Money is energy. When you raise your energy, you raise your income. When you shift your state, you shift your receiving. When you become a vessel of joy, clarity, and purpose, you become a magnet. It's not about hustle. It's about frequency. And the more you align with abundance, the more abundance aligns with you. That's the game. And now you know how to play. There's a reason you've never been taught this in school. A reason financial literacy, energetic awareness, and mental reprogramming have been left out of your education. There's a reason you've spent years believing money only comes from stress, exhaustion, or sacrifice. The reason is simple. If everyone understood how to access wealth from within, the systems that thrive on struggle would collapse. The Lost Book is not a literal book sitting on a dusty shelf in a secret library. It's a collection of truths scattered throughout history, whispered by mystics, encoded in ancient texts, buried in philosophy, and hidden between the lines of powerful lives. It's the invisible script followed by the wealthy and misunderstood by the masses. It's been quoted, distorted, monetized, and hidden because real freedom scares people who build cages. So what's inside this lost book? It's the idea that wealth is not earned through proving your worth, but through remembering it. That abundance doesn't come from external validation, but from internal alignment, that you don't need permission to become rich, only intention. The Lost Book teaches you that money is a mirror and the world is your reflection, that everything you desire is already yours on the energetic level. You don't earn it. You tune into it. You remove resistance. You clear the fog. You become available to receive. But that's dangerous information for a system that profits from your insecurity. That's dangerous for industries built on keeping you small, obedient, overworked, and addicted to the grind. That's why the Lost Book was hidden, not in a vault, but in your mind, buried beneath fear, conditioned out of you since childhood. Think about it. From the moment you could walk, you were rewarded for effort, praised for performance, taught to earn your keep, taught that the good life comes later, after decades of obedience. That joy must be delayed. That freedom must be bought with pain. You weren't taught how to feel rich before the money arrived. You weren't taught how to trust your desires. You weren't taught that your beliefs were shaping your reality every second of every day. Because if you knew that, if you really understood how much power you hold in your attention, your emotion, and your energy, you would be unstoppable. And unstoppable people don't buy into lies. They don't settle. They don't conform. They don't build someone else's dream while ignoring their own. The Lost Book shows you how to activate your own power, independent of circumstances. It teaches that what's out there is a direct projection of what's in here, that the only thing standing between you and wealth is the illusion of separation. What is the illusion? It's the idea that money exists somewhere far away. That opportunity is for other people. That wealth is a reward instead of reflection. But that illusion dissolves the moment you shift internally. When you begin to trust the invisible more than the visible, when you believe in your vision more than your current conditions, when you feel abundant before the bank balance shows it, because energy leads, reality follows. The truth is, you've already read parts of the lost book, maybe in a quiet moment when an idea lit up your mind, maybe during a conversation where someone said something that cracked your soul open, maybe in the silence where your intuition whispered, "There's more than this." That was the book speaking to you. And now it's time to read the whole thing, not through pages, but through practice, because this isn't theory. It's a living reality. The wealthy don't just know how to manage money. They know how to think in wealth. They speak in abundance. They see through a lens of possibility, not limitation. They invest in expansion, not survival. They trust themselves. They trust the unseen. And that trust is everything. Because money flows where trust is high. You don't need to be perfect to receive more. You don't need credentials. You don't need to wait. You simply need to become the you that already exists in that abundant timeline. The version of you who doesn't ask for permission, who doesn't shrink, who doesn't doubt their worth every 5 minutes. That version is reading this right now, remembering what was never really lost, only forgotten. So how do you live this lost book? You make a choice every morning, every hour. You ask, am I acting from fear or from frequency? Am I speaking from lack or from truth? Am I waiting for proof or walk in power? Because once you step into alignment, your whole world begins to rearrange. People show up differently. Doors open without knocking. Money flows in ways that feel magical. Not because you found some secret formula, but because you finally stopped blocking what's been available all along. The real secret is not about effort. It's not about luck. It's not about chasing. It's about being. Being in the energy that already holds everything you seek. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. The lost book is you. Your power. Your awareness. Your decision to believe in your own light again. So, starting now, remember the wealth that lives inside you. Remember the truth that was hidden to keep you safe, but now must be reclaimed to set you free. This isn't new information. It's ancient. It's powerful. There's a rule that governs how money flows. A rule that is not taught in schools, not discussed in boardrooms, not whispered at dinner tables. But the people who master it seem to have an invisible advantage. They're not necessarily smarter. They're not always more educated. They may not work harder, but they carry something different, an energy that money responds to. This rule is called wealth frequency, and once you understand it, your relationship with money will never be the same. So what is it? Wealth frequency is the energetic signature you emit when you interact with the idea of money. It's not just your thoughts. It's your beliefs, your emotions, your confidence, your openness, your expectations, all vibrating at a level that either attracts or repels abundance. Think of it like a radio station. If you're tuned into scarcity, you'll only hear lack. You'll only notice bills, struggles, missed chances. You'll walk through life seeing limitation, even when opportunity is standing in front of you. But when you shift your dial to wealth frequency, suddenly the static clears. You hear ideas that others miss. You feel openings where others feel blocked. You notice people who are ready to say yes. You begin to receive. You're not imagining it. You just finally tuned in. Let's go deeper. Everything is energy. Every object, every thought, every emotion. And energy has frequency. The higher your frequency, the lighter, faster, and more magnetic your experience becomes. Emotions like joy, gratitude, and certainty raise your vibration. Emotions like fear, guilt, and shame pull it down. So if you want to attract wealth, you don't just change your bank account. You raise your frequency. Wealth lives on a specific frequency range. It's a place where people expect good things to happen. It's where people trust themselves to create value. It's where ideas flow, collaboration spark, and confidence is normal. The rule of wealth frequency is simple. Your outer world mirrors your inner signal. Say it again to yourself. My outer world mirrors my inner signal. This means you don't need to manipulate the outside world. You don't need to fight circumstances or force people or chase numbers. You simply need to manage your frequency, and the rest aligns. Let's say you wake up anxious about money. You start your day thinking about bills, comparing yourself to others, wondering why it's not working yet. That signal becomes your filter. You'll miss opportunities. You'll push away clients with your desperate energy. You'll sabotage offers because you feel unworthy, not because you're lazy, not because you're cursed, but because you're not aligned with the wealth frequency. You're tuned into lack. Now flip it. Imagine waking up and deciding, today, I choose abundance. You breathe in trust. You feel the value you bring. You speak with confidence. You remember that money is energy, and energy follows emotion. You anchor into gratitude. You walk with certainty. That signal, right there, is what money responds to. Suddenly, you're aligned. You're open. You're magnetic. Here's the key. Frequency first, results second. Most people get it backward. They wait for the money to feel abundant. They wait for the success to feel confident. But that's not how energy works. You lead with a feeling. You lead with the identity. And then life rearranges itself to match. You've heard the phrase, fake it till you make it. But that's not what we're doing. We're not faking. We're feeling it now. We're becoming the version of ourselves that matches the life we want to live. Because that version already exists. Right now, in this moment, there's a version of you living in full financial flow. They're not doubting themselves. They're not chasing. They're not overwhelmed. They're aligned. And all you have to do is tune into their frequency. How? Here's how you begin. Step 1. Feel as if it's already done. Not hope. Not wish. Feel. Imagine the money already in your account. Imagine the clients already saying yes. Imagine the freedom already activated. Let your nervous system get used to that feeling. Let your body believe it's safe to receive. Step 2. Remove the noise. You cannot hear your wealth frequency if you're constantly surrounded by scarcity. That means filtering what you consume, who you listen to, what conversations you entertain. If you're always hearing about how hard life is, how broke everyone feels, how impossible it all seems, you'll start to vibrate with that frequency. Protect your energy. Step 3. Move as if you're already there. Speak with clarity. Set boundaries. Show up with excellence. Price your value like it matters. Stop negotiating with fear. Every move you make in alignment with your wealthy self multiplies your frequency. Step 4. Anchor into gratitude. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways to raise your vibration. It shifts you from focusing on what's missing to what's already present. And when you're grateful, you're open. You're relaxed. You're in trust. And trust is the language of wealth. Step 5. Let go of the timeline. This is the part people struggle with. But the wealth frequency doesn't operate on urgency. It operates on trust. The moment you attach desperation or fear to time, your signal drops. Instead of needing the money now, become the person who knows it's already coming. Detach. Trust. Stay consistent. Remember this. Frequency is everything. If you keep chasing money while vibrating at fear, you'll exhaust yourself. But if you align your energy with abundance and move from that place, you'll receive in ways that feel effortless. This isn't magic. It's physics. And now you know the rule. Your outer world mirrors your inner signal. So set your signal on wealth and let the universe match it. The biggest difference between the rich and everyone else isn't luck. It isn't inheritance. It isn't even access. It's perspective. It's the way they see the world, the way they frame decisions, the way they process problems and opportunities. Wealth begins in the mind long before it shows up in the bank. If you want to attract what rich people attract, you have to start thinking how rich people think. Let's be clear, this isn't about arrogance or entitlement. This is about mental programming. It's about the operating system running in the background. The wealthy run a different script, and if you're stuck in the old one, You'll sabotage yourself, even if the opportunities are right in front of you. So what's the core difference? Poor and middle-class minds think in terms of lack, limits, and loss. Rich minds think in terms of abundance, expansion, and leverage. Let's break this down. A poor mindset says, "Can I afford this?" A wealthy mindset says, "How can I afford this?" The first shuts down creativity. The second activates it. A poor mindset avoids risk out of fear. A wealthy mindset studies risk, respects it, and uses it strategically. A poor mindset sees money as something to hold tightly. A wealthy mindset sees money as a tool that multiplies when used correctly. When most people get money, they think, "How do I spend it?" Rich people think, "How do I grow it?" That one mental habit changes everything. Wealthy people don't chase money. They create systems that allow money to flow consistently. Whether that's through investments, business, intellectual property, or relationships, they build repeatable value. Their time is not tied to every dollar. They focus on assets, not just paychecks. They think beyond today, beyond next week. Their vision stretches years into the future. But here's what's more important than strategy: identity. Rich people think like owners, like creators, like receivers. They don't wonder whether they're worthy of wealth. They assume it, not from ego, but from deep alignment with their value. They know their worth. They know what they bring. They know that their time, energy, and presence are valuable. That belief shifts everything. When you believe you're valuable, you don't undercharge. You don't chase. You don't tolerate disrespect. You don't stay silent when you have something to say. You act from power, and that power creates wealth. Another key distinction is how the wealthy handle problems. Most people see a problem and say, "Why me?" Rich minds say, "Where's the opportunity?" They understand that every problem holds a gift, a lesson, a pivot, a new door. They don't avoid challenges. They approach them with curiosity and confidence because they believe they can solve them. And that belief multiplies their capacity. Now let's talk about time. Poor and middle-class minds trade time for money. They work longer hours to earn more. Rich minds trade value for money. They ask, "How can I solve bigger problems? How can I serve more people? How can I get paid for what I know, not just what I do?" That's why you'll see someone working 60 hours a week and barely surviving, and someone else working 20 hours a week and thriving. It's not about time. It's about thinking. Wealthy people also think in terms of expansion, not survival. Most people make decisions from a place of, "How do I stay safe?" The rich ask, "How do I grow from here?" That shift creates different actions, different conversations, different environments. Survival thinking keeps you in the same room, same crowd, same patterns. Expansion thinking takes you into new spaces, with people who stretch you, with ideas that elevate you. Now, let's address something important: belief. Wealthy people believe wealth is normal. They don't feel guilty for having it. They don't shrink to make others comfortable. They don't fear outshining anyone. They give generously. They invest boldly. They receive openly. That mindset makes them available for wealth. Most people, on the other hand, feel guilt. They fear judgment. They think money will make them selfish or disconnected. Those thoughts block receiving, because you can't attract what you're emotionally rejecting. Here's the bottom line. Wealth is an inside game. It's not just about actions. It's about assumptions. The wealthy assume abundance. They assume possibility. They assume value. And because they think from that place, they act from that place. And because they act from that place, they receive from that place. You want to shift your financial life? Start here. Ask yourself, what thoughts am I thinking about money? What do I believe about wealthy people? What do I believe about my own value? Do I see money as a partner or a problem? Do I trust myself to manage more? Do I act like a creator or a victim? Your answers will reveal your frequency. And from there, you can change it, because thoughts are not fixed. Beliefs are not permanent. You can rewire. You can choose new perspectives. You can start thinking like wealth now, before the money arrives, because that shift is what causes the arrival. So here's your new mantra. I think like a wealthy person, not someday. Now, I see opportunity. I create value. I believe in my worth. I allow money to flow. I lead. I expand. I receive, because wealth is who I am becoming. And every thought I choose moves me closer. There is one shift that changes everything. One change that unlocks opportunity, connection, income, creativity, and confidence. It's not a tactic. It's not a strategy. It's not a 5-step plan. It's a belief. A belief so powerful that once you accept it, the world begins to respond to you differently. And here it is. You are already worthy of wealth. Right now. Not later. Not when you get your degree. Not when you hit your goal. Not when you prove yourself. Now, the door to wealth is not locked from the outside. It's locked from within. And the key isn't effort. The key is belief. Let's talk about why that matters. Every action you take, every decision, every investment, every pitch, every boundary is shaped by your identity. And your identity is built from your beliefs. If you believe deep down that you're not ready, not smart enough, not experienced enough, not good enough, you will unconsciously block the flow of money. You'll second-guess yourself. You'll shrink when you should speak. You'll price yourself too low. You'll stay quiet when opportunity calls. Not because the opportunity isn't real, but because your belief told you that you weren't allowed through the door. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine you wake up and believe fully and completely that you are ready, that you are qualified, that you are valuable, that you are supported, that money is meant for you, that clients are looking for you, that the world is better when you share your voice. What happens? Your posture changes. Your energy changes. Your ideas sharpen. You speak clearly. You move decisively. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop over-explaining your worth. And suddenly, doors start opening. Not because the world changed, but because you did. The doors were always there. You just stopped walking past them. You stopped looking down. You started believing forward. This is the power of belief. It creates your filters. And you don't see with your eyes. You see with your beliefs. You don't hear with your ears. You hear with your expectations. Two people can walk into the same room. One sees doubt. One sees possibility. One sees rejection. One sees an opening. One stays stuck. One receives. And the only difference was belief. Now let's go deeper. Most people build beliefs by accident. They absorb them from family, from school, from religion, from trauma, from society, from failure. And over time, these beliefs harden. They become your truth. But here's the secret they never told you. You can rewrite them. You can decide your beliefs. You can choose new thoughts, new filters, new stories. And when you do, your life begins to reorganize around a new frequency. So what beliefs open the door to wealth? Here are 5 to start with. 1, I am safe to receive more. This one is key, because if your nervous system feels unsafe with money, if you believe more money brings more stress, judgment, responsibility, or pressure, you will subconsciously block it. You'll make just enough to survive, but not enough to thrive. Rewire that. Say it daily. I am safe to receive more. 2, I create value effortlessly. You don't have to suffer to deserve. You don't have to bleed to contribute. Your presence, your insight, your energy, your creativity, these are valuable. Wealth flows to those who know their value. Remind yourself that what feels natural to you may be deeply valuable to others. 3, I do not need permission to prosper. You don't need your parents to approve. You don't need your peers to understand. You don't need the world to validate your vision before you act on it. You give yourself permission to build, to ask, to charge, to rise. For money is my ally, not my enemy. If you see money as a source of stress, pain, or corruption, you'll feel guilt for wanting it. But money is neutral. It amplifies who you are. In the hands of someone like you, conscious, kind, intentional, money does good. So release the guilt. Claim the power. Use the wealth. 5, I'm already enough. This is the root. If you believe you're not enough, you'll never feel deserving of more. You'll keep chasing, keep proving, keep hiding. But once you accept that your worth is not up for negotiation, that you are enough, whole, valuable, now, everything shifts. The moment you shift your beliefs, You shift your baseline. You raise your floor. You stop living in reaction. You start living in creation, and life responds. So how do you make the shift? It starts with awareness. Start noticing the voice in your head, the one that says, "You're not ready. You can't charge that. You'll fail. You don't deserve that level of success." That voice is not truth. It's a loop, a habit, a program, and habits can be broken. The next time that voice whispers, ask yourself, who told me that? Is it true? Does it serve me? What would I believe if I were already successful? Then speak the new belief out loud. Say it until it feels normal. Say it until the old one feels ridiculous. Say it until your energy shifts. Because the moment you believe different, you become different. And when you become different, the world reflects it. People start treating you differently. Opportunities start appearing. Money starts flowing. Because you're no longer waiting for permission. You're walking through the door you once thought was locked. It was never locked. It just needed the right frequency to open. And that frequency? Belief. Everyone is looking for a shortcut. Everyone wants to know the secret, the quick fix, the thing the rich know that the rest don't. But most people are looking in the wrong place. They think the shortcut is a strategy, a hack, a loophole, something external. But the real shortcut isn't hidden in a software, a course, or a contact. The real shortcut, the one that works, is internal. It's a shift that speeds everything up, not because it manipulates time, but because it removes resistance. The shortcut is alignment. That's it. When you're aligned, when your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and actions are moving in the same direction, life moves fast. Opportunities come. Decisions feel clear. Energy flows. But when you're out of alignment, when you say one thing, feel another, believe something else, and do the opposite, everything slows down. You feel stuck, tired, confused. You sabotage. You spin. You delay your own blessings. Alignment is the difference between walking upstream and flow the current. You can hustle all you want, but if your energy is off, nothing clicks. You can network every night, post every day, try every tactic, but if you're doing from fear, from insecurity, from lack, you'll burn out long before you break through. This is why some people seem to rise fast, almost effortlessly, not because they worked harder, but because they were aligned sooner. Alignment doesn't mean doing more. It means removing what doesn't belong. The lies, the pressure, the expectations, the guilt, the noise. It means tuning into you, the real you, the version of you that is calm, clear, grounded, and powerful. That's the version who receives. That's the shortcut no one talks about. So how do you get aligned? Step 1, know what you actually want. Not what looks impressive. Not what your parents wanted. Not what your industry rewards. But what you want. What lights you up. What feels like truth in your bones. If you don't know that, you'll chase someone else's dream and wonder why you're exhausted. The shortcut begins with clarity. Be honest with yourself. Step 2, check your emotions. Your emotions are your GPS. When you feel anxious, heavy, or tight, you're likely out of alignment. When you feel light, open, excited, you're closer to truth. This doesn't mean avoid discomfort. It means pay attention to your emotional data. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore it. Ask why. Step 3, clean up your beliefs. You can't be aligned with wealth if you believe wealth is wrong. You can't attract abundance if you believe money makes you a bad person. You can't hold success if you believe you're unworthy. These beliefs don't just block the shortcut. They sabotage the journey. Bring them to light. Replace them with something true. Step 4, take action that matches your desire. This part is key. Alignment isn't just a feeling. It's also a behavior. If you say you want to grow, but you keep hiding, that's misalignment. If you say you want to earn more, but you won't raise your prices, that's misalignment. If you say you want freedom, but your calendar is full of obligation, that's misalignment. Your actions must match your intentions. Otherwise, the universe gets confused. Step 5, stay in integrity. Integrity is alignment between your inner truth and your outer choices. when you lie to yourself, say yes when you mean no, overcommit, undercharge, betray your boundaries, you lose energy fast. But when you honor your word, protect your space, speak your truth, and trust your gut, you become magnetic. Because people can feel integrity. It's rare, and it's powerful. Now let's talk about speed. When you're aligned, you don't need to wait. You don't need 5 years to build confidence. You don't need 10 years to create impact. You just need one clear moment. One decision from alignment is worth more than 1,000 actions from fear. This is why the shortcut works. Because alignment collapses time. When you're aligned, you speak differently. People listen. You create differently. People respond. You show up differently. Life mirrors it back. The right doors open. The right people call. The right clients appear. Not by luck, but by resonance. Because you finally match the frequency of what you were asking for. That's the shortcut. And once you feel it, you'll never go back. You'll stop chasing things that don't feel right. You'll stop saying yes just to be polite. You'll stop tolerating people who drain you. Because alignment feels too good to sacrifice. And it works too well to ignore. Now, here's something important. Alignment is a practice. It's not a one-time decision. It's a daily commitment. You check in with yourself. You recalibrate when you drift. You listen when something feels off. You adjust when necessary. Because staying aligned is how you stay in flow. And flow is how you move fast, with ease, with grace, with power. So if you're tired of struggling, if you're tired of forcing, if you're tired of hustling without results, try the shortcut no one talks about. Get aligned with your truth, with your values, with your worth, with your vision, and then move. Watch how quickly things shift. Watch how people respond to your clarity. Watch how money finds you when you stop chasing and start receiving. This is the secret. This is the path. This is the shortcut. And it's already within you. You're not broken. You're not unlucky. You're not behind. You're not cursed. You're not too late. You're just out of tune. That's it. And once you understand that, everything gets easier. Because when something's out of tune, it doesn't need to be replaced. It needs to be adjusted, refined, realigned. Think of your life like an instrument. When it's tuned correctly, it creates music. When it's out of tune, it still makes sound, but it's off. It feels wrong. It hurts the ears, but the potential is still there. The capacity is still built in. Nothing is missing. Nothing is broken. The same is true for you. So if you feel broke, stuck, scattered, or frustrated, I want you to stop saying there's something wrong with you. I want you to stop labeling yourself as bad with money, or just not that type of person. I want you to stop identifying with lack. Because money responds to identity. If you wear the label broke long enough, your actions, your energy, and your expectations begin to match it. But the truth is, your financial state isn't a sentence. It's a signal. It's a message. It's feedback. It's information. That's all. You're not broke. You're out of tune. And tune can be changed. So, what does being in tune with wealth look like? It looks like emotional congruence. It looks like calm confidence when talking about money. It looks like openness when opportunity knocks. It looks like alignment between your values and your behavior. It feels like flow, like ease, like things begin to work with you, not against you. When you're in tune, you're able to receive. But most people don't realize how out of tune they are. They try to earn more without changing how they feel about money. They try to manifest while secretly fearing success. They try to speak abundance while still believing they're not good enough. That's misalignment. That's friction. That's static in the signal. And money doesn't flow to static. It flows to clarity. Let's look at how you get out of tune. It happens through stories, through trauma, through repetition, through culture, through watching your parents argue about money, through being told rich people are greedy, through failure, through shame, through lack of education. And slowly, you start internalizing beliefs that are not yours. You begin playing a tune that doesn't even belong to you. That's why it feels so uncomfortable, because it's not your natural frequency. And tuning back isn't about faking it. It's about remembering. It's about returning to the truth of who you are, because deep down, you've always known you were meant for more. You've always felt the pull. That vision, that dream life, that freedom, that's not fantasy. That's memory. It's your future self reminding you where you're supposed to be. But in order to become that version of you, you have to adjust the instrument. You have to tune yourself. Let's start with your thoughts. What are you consistently thinking about money? Do you dread it? Do you ignore it? Do you treat it like an enemy? Start there. Because your thoughts are like fingers on a piano. They create the melody of your reality. If you keep playing the keys of fear, doubt, and shame, you're going to stay out of tune. Now, tune your words. What do you say when someone brings up success? Do you change the subject? Do you downplay your goals? Do you joke about how broke you are? Every word is an affirmation, and your subconscious is always listening. Speak in alignment. Say things that reflect the life you're becoming, not the one you're trying to leave behind. Next, tune your environment. Who are you around? Do they normalize lack? Do they speak in limitation? Do they reinforce your old story? You can't stay in tune if you're surrounded by static. Create an environment that supports your signal. Books, voices, mentors, even silence. Anything that reminds you of who you really are. And then, most importantly, tune your emotion, because your feeling state is the amplifier. You can say all the right words and think all the right thoughts, but if you feel anxious, bitter, or unworthy, you'll jam the frequency. So regulate, breathe, ground, visualize, meditate, move your body. Take care of your nervous system, because when your body feels safe, you become a magnet. You don't need to chase. You don't need to hustle for every penny. You just need to get into resonance. That's what the wealthy do. Even if they don't know that's what they're doing, they expect money. They feel safe with money. They don't fight the frequency. They tune into it. And when they get out of tune, they recalibrate. They don't spiral. They don't self-destruct. They listen. They adjust. They trust the process. Now, here's the beautiful part. Tuning doesn't take forever. It can happen fast. Sometimes a single insight can rewire your signal. Sometimes a single moment of clarity snaps everything into alignment. Sometimes a single decision, I am no longer available for lack, is enough to raise your frequency. So if you've been feeling off, if you've been telling the story of I'm broke, I'm stuck, or it's not working, pause, breathe, and remind yourself, I'm not broke. I'm just out of tune, and I know how to tune myself. Because the wealth I'm seeking is already here. It's not out there. It's not locked away. It's not for someone else. It's right here, waiting for me to play the right note. And now I remember how. If there is one invisible force more powerful than effort, strategy, or even talent, it's the energy of deserving. This is the frequency that shapes how much you allow into your life. And the truth is, most people are not blocked by ability. They're blocked by permission. Not from others, from themselves. You only receive what you believe you deserve. Let that sink in. Not what you want, not what you hope for, not what you chase. What you truly, deeply believe you deserve. Your income, your lifestyle, your relationships, they are mirrors, not of your potential, but of your permission. You will unconsciously cap your success to match your internal ceiling. And that ceiling is built with your beliefs about deserving. Most people want more money, but deep down, they don't feel worthy of it. So what happens? They push it away. They undercharge. They hesitate. They ghost opportunities. They procrastinate. They sabotage deals. And then they say, see, I knew it wouldn't work. But it's not because they weren't ready. It's because they hadn't expanded their capacity to receive. So ask yourself, right now, do I truly feel deserving of wealth? Not just survival, not just enough to get by, but true, full, effortless abundance. If not, it's okay. Most people have been conditioned not to feel deserving. Think about it. We're taught to be humble, selfless, quiet. We're taught that asking for more is greedy, that wanting wealth is wrong, that we must earn every good thing through struggle. And so we learn to accept crumbs. We learn to shrink. We learn to settle. We begin to believe that anything beyond just enough is too much. But here's the truth that sets you free. Deserving is not earned. It is claimed. You don't earn your worth. You are worthy. Now, before you prove anything, before you do more, before you get better, you are enough. You are whole. You are deserving because you exist. And the moment you realize that, you stop negotiating with your own value. You stop apologizing for asking. You stop hiding your gifts. You stop tolerating less. You begin to move differently. You begin to speak with certainty. You begin to charge with confidence. You begin to open wider because you're no longer waiting for the world to give you permission. You've already given it to yourself. Let's go deeper. The energy of deserving is quiet, but powerful. It's not about shouting, "I deserve this." It's about knowing it in your bones, in your breath, in your posture. It's the feeling of course. Of course I belong here. Of course I can have this. Of course I get paid well for what I do. Of course wealth is flowing to me. It's not arrogance. It's alignment. And the universe responds to that alignment faster than it responds to effort. Now here's what's tricky. You don't always realize when your deserving energy is low. Sometimes it hides behind perfectionism. I just need to fix one more thing, then I'll launch. Sometimes it hides behind busyness. If I keep working hard, eventually I'll be worthy. Sometimes it hides behind generosity. I'll make sure everyone else is okay before I allow myself to receive. Sometimes it even hides behind modesty. I don't want to come off as too much. All of those are masks, ways we delay receiving. But wealth doesn't come to the one who works hardest. It comes to the one who allows it. And allowing requires deserving. So how do you shift your energy of deserving? First, forgive yourself for forgetting. Forgive the years you spent playing small. Forgive the patterns you inherited. Forgive the parts of you that thought struggle made you good. Then begin the rewiring. Start with language. Replace I hope with I expect. Replace maybe with absolutely. Replace if it happens with when it arrives. Speak like someone who knows. Next, claim space. Raise your prices. Apply for the opportunity. Say yes to the invitation. Stand up when you usually stay seated. Post the thing you've been scared to share. Every bold move tells your nervous system, we are safe to expand. Then embody your worth. Take care of yourself. Eat well. Dress well. Speak kindly to yourself. Honor your time. The more you treat yourself like someone who deserves excellence, the more you'll believe it. And the more you believe it, the more others will reflect it back. Because life is a mirror. And when you look into the world expecting abundance, support, love, and yes, money, you'll begin to see it. You'll stop chasing proof. You'll stop begging for crumbs. You'll stop leaking power. You'll start receiving. Because that's what the energy of deserving does. It draws everything closer. So here's what I want you to remember. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to earn love. You don't need to work harder to be valuable. You are deserving. Right now, as you are. And the more you believe that, the more life will agree with you. That's not magic. That's magnetism. And it starts the moment you decide. I am done with struggle. I am done with shame. I am done with delay. I am open. I am ready. I am worthy. And I allow wealth in. There's a kind of desperation in the way most people pursue success. The endless chasing. The constant reaching. The grasping energy that screams, please, let this be the one. Let this be the client that changes everything. Let this be the post that goes viral. Let this be the month I finally break through. But chasing rarely leads to peace. And it certainly doesn't lead to abundance, because chasing comes from lack. And lack repels what you want most. The more you chase, the more you confirm to the universe that you don't yet have. And the frequency of not having keeps you in a cycle of never having. You're not wrong for trying. You've just been taught the wrong model. You've been taught that effort equals results. That the more you push, the more you get. That if you just grind hard enough, the doors will open. But here's the truth that successful, magnetic people learn sooner or later. You don't chase what's yours. You attract it. Attraction is not passive. It's not sitting on your couch waiting for things to fall from the sky. Attraction is alignment in motion. It's energy that pulls instead of energy that pushes. It's clarity. It's confidence. It's groundedness. It's trust. It's choosing to stand in your power and let things come to you instead of constantly chasing them down. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that the more someone tries to sell you, the less you want it? Have you ever felt someone's desperate energy through a message, a pitch, or a conversation? It's heavy. It's off-putting. It makes you pull away. Now flip the script. Think about the times when someone was calm, confident, secure in their value. They weren't pushing. They weren't begging. They weren't convincing. They simply were. And because they were, you leaned in. That's attraction. And you have that power too. But first, you have to let go of the idea that you must earn everything through struggle. You have to release the belief that hustle equals worthiness. You have to understand that attraction begins when you stop proving, when you stop convincing, when you stop trying to be enough, and simply allow yourself to be enough. This shift is internal. It's emotional. It's energetic. And yes, it's spiritual. Because there's a version of you, calm, grounded, magnetic, that already knows how to attract. She or he doesn't worry when things slow down. They don't panic when things shift. They trust. They know. So how do you stop chasing and start attracting? Step 1. Decide that you are the prize. You are not out here hoping someone picks you. You are not an option. You are the frequency. You are the experience. You are the one. And when you carry that energy, not in arrogance, but in truth, you attract people who see your value because they feel how you value yourself. Step 2. Detach from the outcome. When you're obsessed with results, you start leaking energy. You post something, then obsess over likes. You pitch an offer, then spiral when no one replies. You show up with good intentions, then panic if it doesn't convert. That attachment is repellent. Attraction requires detachment, not apathy, just trust. You do the work. You offer the value. Then you let go, knowing that what's meant for you is already on its way. Step 3. Create from overflow, not urgency. Don't make offers from fear. Don't post out of desperation. Don't show up from anxiety. Instead, get into overflow. Get into joy. Create from love. Create from truth. That energy transfers. People feel it, and they respond to it. Step 4. Align your inner world. Attraction starts inside. Are your thoughts supportive? Are your emotions regulated? Are your beliefs empowering? Are you acting from faith or fear? Before you fix the funnel, fix the frequency. Because energy is the first marketing. Energy is the first sales strategy. Energy is what people remember. And energy doesn't lie. Step 5. Be willing to receive. This sounds obvious, but it's where most people get stuck. They say they want money, but feel guilty receiving it. They say they want support, but don't ask for help. They say they want love, but block intimacy. You can't attract what you won't allow in. Receiving is a skill. Receiving is a frequency. Practice it. Let someone compliment you and believe them. Let someone pay you and receive without shrinking. Let the universe bless you without needing to earn every time. You were not made to beg. You were made to receive. And when you stop chasing, the world can finally catch up to you. Now, let's get real. The world is full of noise. Everyone is shouting. Everyone is pushing. Everyone is running. But the person who sits still, the one who's clear, the one who's certain, the one who's magnetic, that's the one people follow. That's the one people trust. That's the one wealth finds. So, if you've been running, if you've been chasing, if you've been pushing and forcing and trying so hard, this is your invitation to pause, to breathe, to pull your energy back. And remember, you are the frequency. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to shout louder. You don't need to beg for breadcrumbs. You are the whole table. Sit in that knowing. And from that place, move with trust. Create with joy. Speak with conviction. Walk with power. And watch what begins to orbit around you. Because when you stop chasing, you start attracting. And when you start attracting, you're allowed to want more. Let's say that again. You are allowed to want more. More money, more freedom, more impact, more beauty, more joy, more pleasure, more peace, more time, more connection, more ease. You're allowed to want all of it. And not only are you allowed, you're meant to, because desire is not a weakness. Desire is divine. It's your compass. It's your signal. It's how your higher self pulls you forward. But most people were taught to suppress it, to tame it, to apologize for it, to feel guilty about it. We hear things like, be grateful for what you have. Don't get greedy. People have it worse. Be content. But gratitude and desire are not enemies. They are companions. You can be deeply grateful and still want more. You can honor your blessings and still expand. You can celebrate your current chapter and still write the next one. Wanting more doesn't mean you're selfish. It means you're alive, because growth is natural. Expansion is your nature. You see it everywhere. Trees grow taller. Rivers widen. Babies become adults. Ideas become empires. The universe is always expanding. And so are you. Desire is your permission slip to evolve. So when you feel the urge for more, don't shut it down. Don't silence it. Don't judge it. Listen to it. Because underneath every desire is a truth trying to emerge. When you desire more money, it's not just about numbers. It's about freedom. It's about safety. It's about being able to give, travel, heal, create, support, live fully. When you desire more success, it's not just about status. It's about expressing your potential. It's about becoming who you know you were born to be. When you desire more peace, it's not laziness. It's wisdom. It's your soul saying, we're not here to suffer. Desire is sacred. And when you learn to honor it, you stop chasing things that were never yours. You stop settling for lives that don't fit. You stop accepting what the world says you should want. And you start listening inward, because your desires will take you to your purpose. Not because the desire is a purpose, but because the path to desire is where you meet yourself. So, why do we resist wanting more? Because we fear judgment. We fear being called greedy. We fear losing love if we change. We fear standing out. We fear failing. We fear shining too bright. But here's the truth. Your desire isn't too much. It's too real for a world that got used to settling. But your job isn't to shrink for the world. Your job is to expand it by becoming fully you, by choosing more, by saying yes to the pull inside you that says, there's something greater. Let's talk about emotional permission. Somewhere along the line, you may have learned to deny what you want so others could be comfortable, to downplay your goals, to hide your ambition, to dim your light. But you can't serve the world by staying small. You can't inspire anyone by shrinking. And you certainly can't live in alignment if you're betraying yourself. So today, we rewrite the rule. You don't need to justify wanting more. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to wait for permission. You just need to claim it. That's what alignment looks like. It's not loud. It's not forceful. It's quietly powerful. It's a knowing that what you desire is yours. And you don't have to fight for it. You just have to become the version of you who can hold it. Let me be clear. Wanting more doesn't mean abandoning what's good. It means expanding what's possible. You can love your life and still stretch your vision. You can love your job and still want more impact. You can love your home and still want more space. More doesn't mean ungrateful. More means ready. So here's your reminder. You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to want better clients, higher income, deeper relationships, more rest, more fulfillment. You're allowed to raise your standards, to change your mind, to walk away from good enough. Because good enough is the enemy of alignment. And your life is not meant to be a checklist. It's meant to be true. You don't have to wait until you're burned out to upgrade your life. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't have to wait for a breakdown. You can choose now to want more, to become more, to receive more. Because when you want more from a grounded place, from peace, not panic, from truth, not ego, it's not selfish. It's sacred. It's you remembering who you really are. You are not here to play small. You are not here to fit in. You are here to expand, to express, to evolve, to receive, and to show others what's possible when you stop apologizing for your desires. So what do you want? Really? What's the thing you keep pushing down? What's the dream you've been afraid to speak out loud? What's the number, the vision, the life you thought was too much? It's not too much. It's yours, waiting for you to say yes, waiting for you to believe, waiting for you to allow. This chapter is your permission slip. Say it out loud. I'm allowed to want more. I'm allowed to receive more. I'm allowed to expand. Be realistic. That's what they say. Be practical. Be careful. Don't dream too big. Don't aim too high. Keep your expectations low so you won't get hurt. And it sounds reasonable, doesn't it? It sounds wise, mature, safe. But here's the truth they don't want to admit. Being realistic is often just a polite way to say, I've given up on what I really want. Realism sounds responsible, but when it comes to your dreams, your money, your legacy, your freedom, it's dangerous. Because what people call realism is often just fear wearing a suit. It's fear pretending to be logic. It's doubt dressed up as maturity. But it's still fear. It's still lack. And it will strangle your vision if you let it. The wealthiest people in the world are not the most realistic. They're the most delusional. They believe in things they haven't seen yet. They speak of results that haven't manifested yet. They plan for futures that most people call impossible. And that's why they succeed. Because wealth responds to imagination, not just information. So if you've been keeping it realistic, this chapter is your wake-up call. That mindset, though it may have protected you, is now costing you. Here's what being realistic often sounds like. I can't charge that much. I don't want to aim too high and be disappointed. I should stick with what I know. I'll play it safe for now. I'm not the kind of person who... All of those are limits. Quiet, invisible, sneaky little limits. And they don't sound toxic. That's what makes them dangerous. They sound rational. But they're not based on your potential. They're based on your past. Now, let's talk about the problem with that. When you define what's realistic based on your history, you trap yourself in a loop. Because the future you're trying to create is not going to look like anything you've seen before. And if you only believe what you've seen, you'll never step into what's possible. The frequency of wealth is not grounded in realism. It's grounded in vision, in belief, in expansion. The person who gets rich isn't the one who knew how. It's the one who believed it could happen anyway. Let's get specific. When you decide to raise your prices, the realist says, people won't pay that. But the wealthy mind says, the right people will. When you want to quit your job and pursue your calling, the realist says, it's too risky. But the wealthy mind says, what's riskier is die with regret. When you dream about hitting 100K months, the realist says, that's just not me. But the wealthy mind says, why not me? Being realistic is a form of self-censorship. It's choosing to live inside a story someone else wrote. But wealth comes when you become the author. So ask yourself, where am I shrinking in the name of being realistic? Where am I holding back? Where am I dumbing down my desires? Where am I choosing safety over truth? Because here's the paradox. Being realistic doesn't actually keep you safe. It keeps you small. And staying small is not safe. It's slow death. It's boredom. It's resentment. It's watching other people live your dream while you explain why it's just not practical right now. Here's the truth. Every invention we now take for granted was once unrealistic. Flying was unrealistic. Talking to someone across the globe through a screen was unrealistic. Becoming a millionaire from your laptop was unrealistic until someone ignored realism and followed their vision instead. So what's the solution? Be unrealistically aligned. Be wildly optimistic. Be radically unreasonable in your belief that you get to have it all. Be the person who no longer makes decisions from fear. Let people call you delusional. That's fine, because the same people who call you crazy today will call you lucky tomorrow. You have to see it before they do. That's how leadership works. That's how manifestation works. That's how wealth responds. Not to the one who doubts, but to the one who knows. This isn't about being irresponsible. This is about refusing to let logic lead your life. Use logic to build. Use strategy to scale. Use reason to refine. But let vision lead. Let intuition speak. Let desire drive. Because logic alone will get you what's expected. But vision gets you what's possible. So let me ask you, what have you labeled unrealistic? And what would happen if you gave yourself permission to want it anyway? What dream have you shelved because someone said it was too much? What version of you have you buried beneath responsibility? It's time to unlearn the lie that playing small is noble. It's not. It's unnecessary. You playing full out is not irresponsible. It's inspiring. So from this day forward, make a new rule. If it excites me, it's possible. If it scares me, it's growth. If it feels aligned, it's mine. Stop making your future decisions based on past evidence. Create new evidence. Stretch your belief. Dare to ask, what if it does work? Because you spent enough time being realistic. Now it's time to be limitless. Be realistic. That's what they say. Be practical. Be careful. Don't dream too big. Don't aim too high. Keep your expectations low so you won't get hurt. And it sounds reasonable, doesn't it? It sounds wise, mature, safe. But here's the truth they don't want to admit. Being realistic is often just a polite way to say, I've given up on what I really want. Realism sounds responsible, but when it comes to your dreams, your money, your legacy, your freedom, it's dangerous. Because what people call realism is often just fear wearing a suit. It's fear pretending to be logic. It's doubt dressed up as maturity. But it's still fear. It's still lack. And it will strangle your vision if you let it. The wealthiest people in the world are not the most realistic. They're the most delusional. They believe in things they haven't seen yet. They speak of results that haven't manifested yet. They plan for futures that most people call impossible. And that's why they succeed. Because wealth responds to imagination, not just information. So if you've been keeping it realistic, this chapter is your wake-up call. That mindset, though it may have protected you, is now costing you. Here's what being realistic often sounds like. I can't charge that much. I don't want to aim too high and be disappointed. I should stick with what I know. I'll play it safe for now. I'm not the kind of person who... All of those are limits. Quiet, invisible, sneaky little limits. And they don't sound toxic. That's what makes them dangerous. They sound rational. But they're not based on your potential. They're based on your past. Now, let's talk about the problem with that. When you define what's realistic based on your history, you trap yourself in a loop. Because the future you're trying to create is not going to look like anything you've seen before. And if you only believe what you've seen, you'll never step into what's possible. The frequency of wealth is not grounded in realism. It's grounded in vision, in belief, in expansion. The person who gets rich isn't the one who knew how. It's the one who believed it could happen anyway. Let's get specific. When you decide to raise your prices, the realist says, people won't pay that. But the wealthy mind says, the right people will. When you want to quit your job and pursue your calling, the realist says, it's too risky. But the wealthy mind says, what's riskier is die with regret. When you dream about hitting 100K months, the realist says, that's just not me. But the wealthy mind says, why not me? Being realistic is a form of self-censorship. It's choosing to live inside a story someone else wrote. But wealth comes when you become the author. So ask yourself, where am I shrinking in the name of being realistic? Where am I holding back? Where am I dumbing down my desires? Where am I choosing safety over truth? Because here's the paradox. Being realistic doesn't actually keep you safe. It keeps you small. And staying small is not safe. It's slow death. It's boredom. It's resentment. It's watching other people live your dream while you explain why it's just not practical right now. Here's the truth. Every invention we now take for granted was once unrealistic. Flying was unrealistic. Talking to someone across the globe through a screen was unrealistic. Becoming a millionaire from your laptop was unrealistic until someone ignored realism and followed their vision instead. So what's the solution? Be unrealistically aligned. Be wildly optimistic. Be radically unreasonable in your belief that you get to have it all. Be the person who no longer makes decisions from fear. Let people call you delusional. That's fine, because the same people who call you crazy today will call you lucky tomorrow. You have to see it before they do. That's how leadership works. That's how manifestation works. That's how wealth responds. Not to the one who doubts, but to the one who knows. This isn't about being irresponsible. This is about refusing to let logic lead your life. Use logic to build. Use strategy to scale. Use reason to refine. But let vision lead. Let intuition speak. Let desire drive. Because logic alone will get you what's expected. But vision gets you what's possible. So let me ask you, what have you labeled unrealistic? And what would happen if you gave yourself permission to want it anyway? What dream have you shelved because someone said it was too much? What version of you have you buried beneath responsibility? It's time to unlearn the lie that playing small is noble. It's not. It's unnecessary. You playing full out is not irresponsible. It's inspiring. So from this day forward, make a new rule. If it excites me, it's possible. If it scares me, it's growth. If it feels aligned, it's mine. Stop making your future decisions based on past evidence. Create new evidence. Stretch your belief. Dare to ask, what if it does work? Because you've spent enough time being realistic. Now it's time to be limitless.